Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the dumb.
Good morning, Gil. I'm not sure if I can sort it all out, but it was a testy and insult-filled night for the Republican presidential contenders who were on stage here with tense exchanges on Israel, on China, and on character.
You might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Yeah, they hit him. There was a TikTok moment where he was like such a sniveling little debate lord. Like, oh, I use TikTok. Well, you know who else uses TikTok? Your daughter. And it's like, that's kind of perverted. Like, why do you know that? And secondly, yeah, it's her daughter, bro. Yeah, it's normal for her daughter to use TikTok. The do you mean? Like, I can't believe I'm defending Nikki Haley, but
The next generation of America.
A tense showdown in Miami.
her daughter's 25, not a kid. Okay, still, like, what are you, stalking her daughter? Like, what's wrong with you? It's still kind of weird. I can't believe I'm defending her, but in that one, it's just like, it's odd. Oh, my favorite was Tim Scott. Two things Tim Scott did. One, hard launch, hard reveal, hard girlfriend reveal. Congratulations to our favorite virgin, a virgin no longer. And secondly, Tim Scott said there are terrorist sleeper cells in the country. Just minutes after they talked about the Palestinian child that was murdered, was evoked on stage. And the reason for that is the reason for why we must shut off the southern border. He said there are terrorist sleeper cells in the country that are already inside of the borders, and that's why we have to shut off the southern border. Completely psychotic.
Crapping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer.
All while trying to...
Oh, she said you're just scum. Respect.
You got to do a better job on these referenda. I think of all the stuff that's happened to the pro-life cause, they have been caught flat-footed on these referenda.
I would certainly, as President of the United States, have a 15-week national limit.
The candidates were edging for breakthroughs by addressing how the crises
They're so stupid. I unironically agree with Edinger Mentum that the best possible Republican Party position right now is to say you will protect abortion up until the point of viability. Like, literally. I think it's unironically a more positive position for a Republican. I wonder who will be the first to take it. In the general, what's my take on abortion? Really? There's people here who don't know that this community has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for organizations that work with women's reproductive health in the South. What do you think my take on abortion is, dude? I love yeeting those fetuses, dude. Yeet is fetus. Yeet is the fetus every day.
in Israel and Gaza are playing out at home.
One of the grossest moments was literally when they asked like Chris Christie about hate crimes, Islamophobia, and he literally turned around and said, first thing he was like, after 9/11, I called all the Jewish people, and I was like, are you guys okay? There's anti-Semitism happening. And then he turned around and said, I also then went to all the mosques and I was like, hey, you guys aren't doing terror, right? And as long as you're not doing terror, we'll protect you. Nuts. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said something along those lines. We'll see.
Everybody that's protesting on these college campuses in favor of Hamas, let me remind you something. Hamas said death to Israel and death to America. They hate and would kill you too.
To every student who've
Yeah, I'm like, please, dude, fucking end this torment, I guess.
come to our country on a visa to a college campus, your visa is a privilege, not a right.
I mean, dude, you hear this shit? You fucking hear this? They're like, bro, you don't have free speech. If you're a immigrant, you don't have free speech. That's what he's saying. It's like, what do you mean? You can't say that. That's an insane thing. Hey, free speech is only for natural born U.S. citizens. None of you naturalized okay? Know your goddamn place.
I would deport you from those campuses.
And with former Ambassador Nikki Haley gaining support in the non-Trump wing of the party, she became a target.
Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
I'd first like to say they're 5-inch heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run in them.
Jewish students across the country are threatened and under attack. What do you say to Jewish students on college campuses who feel unsafe given the dramatic rise in anti-Semitism?
Yeah, this was wild. They're like, one of the things that I'm really frustrated about this is that like anti-Semitism is a real issue, obviously, and it increases in times of like Israel's incursions into Gaza, right? One, because like Israel defines itself as like the nation state for all Jews, and two, because like there are definitely a lot of anti-Semitic people who also agree with that prospect and either cynically use that to do hate crimes or just straight up are, you know, being anti-Semitic and stupid and angry at Israel and then thinking that it's like the fault of Jews. So that part is absolutely true. right? It's true. It happens. It literally happens every single time. The thing is, however, Republicans just unironically, in a sea of like actual anti-Semitic incidents that they could point to, they just will make whatever the fuck up. Like they literally were like talking about the Cooper students or whatever, which blows my mind. Like that wasn't a real story. Like the NYPD had to come out and be like, yeah, those Cooper students were never in, like, they were never under threat. Like that's a 3-second clip out of context. Like that was perfectly, everything was under control. Like that's bullshit. And I just like, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to like tackle, because like there are 1,000 different things to cover. So I sometimes drop the ball a little bit because I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like the Cooper Union students, like why are you using that in bad faith? Yeah, or the kosher dining hall, which was clearly 4chan Nazis. Like exactly the Columbia student thing, which was an anonymous forum that is like every one of you guys knows, easily manipulated. And they caught the guy, and it wasn't, not Columbia, sorry, Cornell. And they caught the guy. They caught him. Notice how nobody ever talked about it afterwards? Yeah, because he wasn't a pro-Palestinian student. That's why nobody talked about it.
I think the scourge of anti-Semitism across this country, including at places like my alma mater, places like Brooklyn Bridge in New York, it's sad to see, but here's what history teaches us. Anti-Semitism is a symptom of a deeper cancer in a country and a society that is lost, and we are lost. Several years ago, when I wrote my first book, Woke Inc., I was talking about they were chanting death to America, death to white people, death to Christians. Nobody was waking up back then. Now it's even bad. Now they're saying death to Israel and worse. So it is wrong, but we have to get to the root cause here. Now, I think it's really important that we do this through leadership, not censorship. Leadership means fill that void with purpose and meaning. Dilute this wokeism and anti-Semitism to irrelevance. These kids, they have no...
Oh, God. Dude, he's such a nerd. Like, oh my God. Dilute it with wokeism. Kill wokeism inside of you. It's like, dude, shut up. It's not working. I want to give him a wedgie, dude. You're so annoying. God damn it, dude. Buy my book, ass motherfucker. I swear to Christ. Wokeism. Like, what do you mean wokeism, dude? How is this like, how did you think that this was a good take? Like, how? Whatever.
No idea what the heck they're even talking about when they're siding with Hamas over Israel. They are fools. But I also want to caution here, if we go the direction of Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley, with whom I respectfully disagree on this issue, pro-censorship, telling student groups to disband, mark my words. Soon they will say if you question a vaccine and its side effects, you're a bioterrorist. Soon they will say that if you show up at a school board meeting, you're a domestic terrorist. Soon if they say that J6 prisoners should be released, you're an insurrectionist terrorist. So that's where this road ends. We don't quash.
Oh yeah, he's a free speech guy. He's like, we want to squash wokeism, but also I'm a free speech guy. I don't want my people to get arrested.
This with censorship, because that creates a worse underbelly. We quell it through leadership by calling.
God, he is literally such a debate lord. Dude, even Ron DeSantis like, come on, bro. This is Yap City over here. Mayor of Yapperville, please stop yapping. Oh, God damn, dude. This is the real terrorism. Vivek is a debate pedophile, but holy f*** it was hilarious when he called out Rhonda for wearing heels. Yeah, that was awesome.
These university administrators have lost their way, and we need leadership at the top in the United States of America that restores our founding values and that has no place for this kind of anti-Semitic hate. That's where I stand while respecting our Constitution.
Your time is out. Senator Scott, let me get you to weigh in on what you just heard. Go.
What is Vivek's political background? Nothing. He's just fluent in Japanese, dude. That's what it is. That's all he got.
To every student who've come to our country on a visa to a college campus, your visa is a privilege, not a right. Number 3, any campus that allows for anti-Semitism and hate, to allow students to encourage terrorism, mass murder, and genocide, you should lose your federal funding today, period. To all the students on visas who are encouraging Jewish genocide, I would deport you from those campuses. We have to stand strong with our Jewish Americans. At the end of the day, we should not have our Jewish students.
First of all, like, dude, that's not true. You want to know why I know that's not true? Because you dumb motherfucker defend white supremacists, anti-Semites all the time. That's why I know none of them actually want to like deport people or whatever, or even take any serious action against any real anti-Semitism, and only just like weaponize anti-Semitism against like pro-Palestinian protesters. Because it's so funny to me that under other circumstances, this conversation about like anti-Semitism on campus will never, ever be seriously discussed as a problem, when it is a problem. Anti-Semitism is a problem in perpetuity in the United States of America, and they never talk about it. As a matter of fact, they do the exact opposite. They literally constantly defend Nazis. They literally constantly talk about like, well, I might not agree with this person, but he should have the right to come and speak on your college campus. But holy when it comes down to it, if someone, God forbid, said anything about Israel or defending Palestinians, they're like, deport him immediately. We must deport him. This is the grossest hate crime I've ever heard in my entire life. It's so crazy, dude. It's the Republican GOP primary debate, the third one. People should probably look at this and go, God damn, like, these guys are saying the exact same thing that I, hear from other supporters. If you're like a supporter of Israel and you see this, how does this not make you go, maybe there's something really off about the way that I understand the world?
In a library, being told to hide. On our streets in New York, a Jewish citizen has the right.
Yeah, like the Cooper Student Union thing wasn't like a real, like the cops, the NYPD, no friend to the Palestinian protesters, literally came out and was like, this is not a real story. Like, that's not what happened. Meanwhile, there are real anti-Semitic hate crimes happening. Like, there's like people spraying the Yiddish cultural center in, I forget where it was, in New York, I think, or people spraying like the Jewish center next to Canners that has been around for longer than the state of Israel, with like, all Israel cares about is capitalism, Israel's religion is capitalism, or whatever like, those are actual anti-Semitic incidents, right? Those are actual anti-Semitic incidents. What are you doing? I guess like they just don't personally think about that as like a serious form of anti-Semitism. They just think like, because there's no like direct brown Palestinian student that you can foresee on the other side of it, right? Or yeah, the lady that drove into the Black Israelite building, great example, thinking that it was actually not the Black Israelite building, which isn't necessarily too fond of Jews in general, but yeah, shit like that. Exactly. It's literally the stupidest shit. Things that were often misconstrued.
Governor DeSantis here, what do you think about what he just said?
I was the first presidential candidate to say, if you are here on a student visa as a foreign national, you're making common cause with Hamas, I'm canceling your visa and I'm sending you home. No questions asked.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What do you mean common cause with Hamas? Like, okay, this is literally like Hamas is free Palestine. If you say free Palestine, you're going to jail. I'm actually first deporting you, and then just kidding, I actually put you in jail first, and then I'm deporting you. Now you're going to deportation jail. I'm going to kill you, actually. I'm just going to kill you. I've decided that's the way to deal with it. It's like, what do you mean, dude? What do you mean? Like common cause with Hamas? The fuck does that
Ambassador
mean?
Haley, speak to the parents out there. There are probably TikTok apps on half the phones in this auditorium.
What is this audio?
No, I'm going to speak to the fact that two people hit me and you didn't let me respond.
How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which is about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter
preaching
out of your
to anybody else's
voice.
adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And
He's
that's
just Rizless. He's just Rizless. Honestly, it's so Rizless. Like, I was thinking about this after the fact. I feel like if Donald Trump said that, he would have done a better job. That's it. It's like sexual harassment versus Riz, right? He's just so Rizless. So when he says it, I'm like, ugh, ew, gross. But I feel like if Donald Trump had said it, I'd be like, actually, it's kind of cool. It's just, you can't really do anything about it. He just does it. He just dances around it in like the most annoying way. He's just like, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, and your constitutionally protected rights are going to be to no longer see those ads by subscribing for $5 or for free. You know, it's just like, it's all in the delivery. Exactly. And his delivery sucks.
actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer is actually to say that we're just going to
You're
ban
just
one
scum.
app.
As President of the United States, what would you be urging Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do at this moment? Governor DeSantis.
I would be telling Bibi, finish the job once and for all with these butchers, Hamas. They're terrorists. They're massacring innocent people. They would wipe every Jew off the globe
if they could.
What I would tell Bibi is that Israel has the right and the responsibility to defend itself. I would tell him to smoke those.
Yeah, which is wild when you think about how similar this is to Joe Biden. I'm not even kidding. Come on, dog. Like, aesthetically, sure, they're like jumping over one another. But in practice, like, okay. I mean, that's what Joe Biden's saying too. They're desperate to like try to make this seem way worse. Like, they're desperate to be like, no, you don't understand. I'm so much more racist. I could be so much more racist than you, Joe Biden. You don't understand it. And then you think about it and it's like, well, how is this any different than what Brandon is saying? Because Brandon is the maximalist on this. You can't really push beyond it. Brandon has the maximalist position. Like, what could happen? What could happen that would make this more aggressive? Like, unless you like execute a Palestinian child on stage on your own, you know what I mean? Well, what's the difference? It's basically all the same.
Those terrorists on his southern border. And then I'll tell him as president of the United States, I'll be smoking the terrorists on our.
I like that he said, he's like, I'll smoke the terrorists myself, and then I'll go and do what Bibi's doing at Gaza, but in Mexico.
Southern border.
They have to, 1, eliminate Hamas, 2, support Israel with whatever they need whenever they need it, and 3, make sure we bring our hostages home.
Diplomacy only is a weak strategy. Appeasement leads to war. You cannot negotiate with evil.
Wait, appeasement leads to war? What? Which is why we must do awarment, which will also lead to war. But this time, I like that.
You have to destroy it. America is here, no matter what it is you need at any time, to preserve the state of Israel.
How far would you go militarily to hold Iran accountable?
I am not going to put our troops in harm.
Oh, this part was awesome. This part was awesome when they were all like, we should also bomb Iran too. God, I don't know. It's just like, it's so sweet. It's so sick.
We are not just going to sit there and let our service members be sitting ducks, and that's true whether it's Iran or whether it's any country on the world.
There would be no Hamas without Iran. There would be no Hezbollah without Iran. There would not be the Houthis without Iran. And there wouldn't be the Iranian militias in Syria and Iraq that are trying to hit our military men and women if it hadn't been for Iran.
Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties. It has celebrated a Nazi in its ranks, the comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is not democratic.
Putin and President Xi are salivating at the thought that someone like that could become president. They would love to see
The fact of the matter is she doesn't answer
So this
the
is what I will tell you.
We're driving Russia
first of all,
into China's hand.
Those of us who forget history are doomed to repeat it. And
I'd like to respond.
And the absolute giving in to dictators, which is being suggested on this stage, just shows the immaturity of the.
I don't get it. Like, what do I'm. They're so similar. Like, the Democrats and the Republicans are identical on foreign policy. What's happening? What's the difference? At least Vivek is like kind of crazy. You know, he just like pops off and says like some of the most psychotic nonsense every now and then. Like, Vivek was the coolest for his take on Ukraine because he just straight up went with like pro-Russia, anti-Ukraine. Like, at least it's like different. You know what I mean? He just straight up is like one of those guys who thinks like we will unironically align ourselves with Russia or some shit. He full sent it. Yeah, he did.
We should be arming Taiwan. Make sure they have the equipment they need. There's nothing China fears more than knowing that America will have Taiwan's back.
Here's why we can't get tough with China. It's because we depend on them for our modern way of life, and we have to declare economic independence from our enemy. My message to Xi Jinping is this. You are done buying land in this country. You will not donate to universities in this country. U.S. businesses won't expand into the Chinese market until you play by the same set of rules. You're kicked out of the WTO, and you actually have to have accountability for the COVID-19 pandemic financially, which unleashed hell on the world. We have to hold them accountable.
We have to have the ability to back up a strategy of denial of President Xi's ambitions.
I unironically don't understand why, like, the only interesting thing here is just to talk about, like, abortion. Trump had a very special guest at his rally last night.
Up with the deep state bullshit!
This is the funniest account on the timeline. Cryptid politics, husband, father, Christian, Republican, musician, strategist, DeSantis 2024. It's like, give it up, dog. Who are you signaling to? It's Jover. Donald Trump has a 39-point lead in Florida. It's never been more Jover, okay? just fucking give it up. He's like, you will never have to worry about a nutcase like this being allowed to speak at a Ron DeSantis rally. It's like, that's in Florida, you fucking idiot. That's in Hialeah, dog. That's literally happening in your backyard. They slammed a goddamn stadium in Hialeah on your turf while the Republican debates are happening next door. And you're over here being like, look at this incredibly successful rally that Trump threw in a state where he has 39 points on my candidate that I'm advising into oblivion. Do you support building a border wall in the northern side of America? Yes. To save Canada, honestly. We should build a wall on the northern border. I'm actually pro building a wall on the southern border too. We should be saving. It's more so to keep our psychos out than to keep anybody from coming in. You know what I mean? At this point, it's just like we've lost the plot.
Mr. Ramaswamy, are you persuaded by President Zelensky's urgent new plea? Where do you stand on more funding?
I'm absolutely unpersuaded. And I'm actually enjoying watching the Ukraine hawks quietly, delicately tiptoe back from their position as this thing has unwound into a disaster. The first half of this race, I was the only person standing for it. Now they're actually quietly coming around to being more cautious, as they should. Level with the American people here. Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has been.
This is such a funny take because, like, yeah, of course it's not. It wasn't before, and certainly not during martial law when they're under invasion. It wasn't before either. But the idea that the Republicans at the Republican debate would give a fuck about that is so funny when, like, half of their arguments revolve around like unwinding the democratic will of the people and manipulating all matter of governance at their behest for the loudest minority you can. Like, you're a Republican. What do you mean? It's just like, Ukraine has no democracy. Why are we giving them weapons? I don't know. Why are we giving Saudi Arabia weapons? Why does America give anybody weapons, you idiot? I've never, like, what a stupid take. Anyway, sorry. He's such a debate pervert.
Banned 11 opposition parties. It has consolidated all media into one state TV media arm. That's not democratic.
Yeah, it's like, guys, we hate Ukraine. It's like, imagine they consolidated all the channels on television and it's only Fox News. I hate that. God damn it. That's the thing. It's like, they would be like, Ukraine is so based. Anyway, yeah. Ukraine is invaded by Russia. It's not like they were super democratic before. Doesn't really matter. They don't have to be democratic for America to give them weapons.
Threatened not to hold elections this year unless the U.S. forks over more money. That is not democratic. It has celebrated a Nazi in its ranks, the comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is not
Wait, what?
Democratic. More facts for you that you won't hear from the mainstream in either party or the mainstream media. The regions of Ukraine that are occupied by Russia right now, in the Donbass, Luhansk, Donetsk, these are Russian-speaking regions that have not even been part of.
Again, this is so funny. Dude, good luck, dude. Hey, more power to you, brother. Good luck. Wasn't this your argument, too? My argument is a little bit more complicated, I think, than Mr. I'm trying to win votes in the Republican Party by pushing Z.
Of Ukraine since 2014, that other people probably couldn't name those provinces for you. Those are the hard facts. And so to frame this as some kind of battle between good versus evil, don't buy it.
It's awesome. I'm glad that there's at least like one guy that's just saying different shit. You know what I mean?